I've been using Android 15 on my Pixel 9 Pro XL for the past 4 days, and I was curious to know if the new software comes with any battery improvements. So in today's video, I will do a battery comparison between the 9 Pro XL running Android 14 versus Android 15. I will compare the results of this test with the same one I did on the 22nd of August to see if there is any difference. There are a lot of videos about Android 15 in the pipeline, so I appreciate subscribing to the channel to be among the first to get notified when they get released. On a side note, if you like any of the wallpapers you see in this video, you will find the Wallpapers by In-Depth Tech Reviews app download link in the description below. And now, let's jump in. Let me start by showing you how the test will take place. I will follow the same exact steps of my last 9 Pro XL battery drain test on Android 14. I will be using cellular data instead of Wi-Fi throughout the entire test. The display is set to the maximum resolution, smooth display is activated, and the screen brightness is set to 65%. And now, let's begin. The initial temperatures from left to right are 31 and 30.3 degrees Celsius. Plus, I have a thermometer to show you the room temperature at all times, which is about the same as my previous video. The battery is at 100%, and I will start with a Microsoft Teams meeting for 1 hour. I'm using a secondary phone to join the meeting to make sure it mimics a real-life scenario. And now let's begin the first hour and see what's gonna happen. After 1 full hour, the 9 Pro XL with Android 15 consumed 17%, while Android 14 only consumed 15%, which is 2% better. Plus, Android 15 generated more heat to be at 47 degrees versus 43.9 on Android 14. This is not a good start, but let's keep going to see if things will change. In the second hour, I will play Temple Run 2 and keep the game looping endlessly. After 1 hour, both consumed the exact amount of battery in the gaming test, which is 8%, leaving the same 2% gap between the two in favor of Android 14. But Android 15 was slightly cooler at 34.1 versus 34.5, even though the ambient temperature is exactly the same. The next one is to play YouTube videos for 1 hour in 2160p resolution, so let's begin. In YouTube, Android 15 did better, consuming only 11%, while on Android 14 it consumed 12%, to make the gap between the two only 1% in favor of Android 14. And for the second time, Android 15 is running cooler at 36.5 degrees versus 37.6 on the previous version. Test number 4 is a Facebook scrolling for 1 hour. And here I will be using a third-party app to do the scrolling for me, same as last time. So let's keep going. After 1 hour, Facebook consumed 13% on Android 15 versus 12% on Android 14. So we are back again to the same 2% gap with the same trend of Android 15 being cooler at 37.9 degrees versus 38.7 on Android 14. The fifth hour will include WhatsApp chatting. I will text for 15 minutes, record a voice message for 15 minutes, send back-to-back videos for another 15, and lastly, send back-to-back photos for the last 15 minutes. This is the heaviest task in this test, so let's see what's gonna happen. After finishing the WhatsApp hour, both switched places again. Android 14 is not only cooler at 44.4 degrees versus 46.4, but it also consumed less battery of 15% versus 17% on Android 15. My assumption is the camera is the reason behind this difference. This incident occurred in Microsoft Teams and WhatsApp, which are the only two apps that used the camera in this test. It's either because Google improved the quality in third-party apps or Android 15 needs more optimization in this area. So I will do more testing and keep you updated. Besides this, Android 14 sits at 38%, while Android 15 is at 34%, which is a 4% difference. Now I will repeat the same tasks again in 30 minutes increments instead of 1 hour, as I don't have a lot remaining, and let's see which one will die first. The second 30 minutes of video calling consumed 13% and raised the temperature to 48.6 degrees on Android 15, while on Android 14 it consumed 10% with 44 degrees temperature. So another confirmation that the camera on Android 15 is more power hungry. Moving to the second gaming round, the phone went below 20% halfway through. After 30 minutes, I found that I didn't turn off the battery saving mode on Android 15 like I did last time. So it consumed only 4% versus 5% on Android 14, with an overall difference of 6% in favor of Android 14. Surprisingly, Android 15 was hotter this time to be at 37.2 degrees versus 36.8, unlike round 1 where Android 15 was cooler. But the difference is not massive. Moving to the second YouTube round, I was struggling to zoom to fill on Android 15 and I had to close the player to start over again. Not only this, but it kept pausing the video till the end of the 30 minutes. Looking at the numbers, Android 15 consumed 7% battery versus only 5% on Android 14, with more heat of 39.8 degrees versus 37.5 on the previous version. So the battery saving mode seems to be working in the opposite direction, and the gap keeps getting bigger. Now Android 14 is 8% ahead of Android 15. Just before starting the second Facebook round, Android 15 lost 1 more percent to start at 9% instead of 10. And shortly after starting the round, I turned off the battery saving mode on Android 15 exactly at 8%. Android 15 finished the second Facebook round with 3%, while Android 14 is still at 11%. Both consumed the same 7% battery, leaving the same 8% gap in favor of Android 14. I immediately started the second WhatsApp round on Android 15 to see how far it can go. This time the duration for texting, voice messaging, videos and photos is only 7.5 minutes each to give a total of 30 minutes. On Android 15, the 9 Pro XL finished the 7.5 minutes of texting, and after 3 minutes and 14 seconds of recording a voice message, the phone turned off. On the other hand, Android 14 is still going. I was able to finish the whole 30 minutes and even go to the third Microsoft Teams round for another 9 minutes before shutting down, so let's take a look at the numbers. On Android 14, I started the test at 6:15 p.m. and the phone switched off at 2 a.m., which is 7 hours and 45 minutes of screen on time. On Android 15, I started at 12:26 p.m. and the phone died at 7:44, which is a total of 7 hours and 18 minutes. That's a 27 minutes less than Android 14, which is a bummer. As I mentioned before, the camera seems to be the issue as it consumes more power and generates more heat. I'm not sure yet if it's because of the higher quality or if it's an optimization issue. So more on that in my future videos. But what made me scratch my head is the battery saving mode. It led to more battery consumption and heat. I'm thankful that I forgot to turn it off this time, or else I wouldn't know about this issue. Overall, the 9 Pro XL battery is still good enough, but seeing it going down with the newer version is definitely a bummer, and I hope to see better numbers in the future. So that's pretty much it for today. That was my battery comparison between Android 14 and Android 15 on the Pixel 9 Pro XL. Please let me know in the comments what do you think, but for now, thanks so much for watching and see you in the next video.